It's the 12th of September, and in just the last few hours, reports are emerging alongside footage recorded by ordinary citizens showing what appears to be a missile over the skies of Medina. For those who are not aware, Medina is a city in Saudi Arabia. It's the second most holy site in all of Islam, after Mecca, another holy city in Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi officials have not yet publicly announced what the missile was it even a missile, and sources such as Inside the Haramain, look up that group, a source of news and updates on the two holy cities, which are collectively called the Haramain in Arabic, and the website The Islamic Information. They've urged citizens of Saudi Arabia and the world to refrain from speculation and await the Saudi authorities' announcement. If that ever comes, that is, because they could just ignore it if they wanted, of course. The authority can do what they want. Now, what the heck is going on? People want to know. I'm not a Saudi citizen myself, in case that wasn't obvious. And the government there have spent the last 2 years to varying degrees calling on people not to sow fitna or chaos, not to sow chaos within civil society by openly discussing sensitive political topics, getting people riled up and emotional. Don't do anything that actually activates the hearts. Just stay, right? Now, with over 65 million views on pretty much just sensitive political topics, I think obeying the Saudi guidance of not basically discussing anything sensitive, I think for me at least, that ship has sailed. No disrespect to the Saudi administration, but I'm not stopping my analysis and sitting and waiting for the Saudi state or any state to tell me what to think. I will report what I know. I will give my analysis based on that, based on my research, and my audience can, of course, decide for themselves. And I encourage you to look into things further if they are important to you, and wait for the Saudi authorities to tell you what the missile over Medina was. Was it a missile? Where did it come from? Was it intercepted? Anyway, first I have to mention the real cause of the heightened tensions across the Middle East, right? Israel has, by the assessment of many analysts, burned a critical bridge. No diplomatic efforts moving forward. That's been basically their announcement. That's my analytical assessment. The Hasbara, the Israeli propaganda, is pushing a different narrative. They're saying Qatar was harboring resistance members from Palestine, so that makes Qatar a legitimate target. You guys have to get rid of the resistance fighters wherever they are, or we're going to get rid of them for you. That was the Netanyahu announcement, basically. I've paraphrased and I've interpreted it in a certain way, but you look it up and you come to your own conclusions. As I outlined in the video in depth before this one, this is misdirection, this spin that the Israelis put on it, saying, you guys get rid of these elements within your countries or we're going to get rid of them for you. This is a spin designed to confuse people through a reframing and basically an all-out lie. Qatar hosted political figures of the Palestinian resistance faction or factions at the request and in agreement with the United States and Israel. This is a diplomatic project that the groups in the region have agreed to. This is not an armed cell of the resistance fighters back from Gaza. These are negotiators. These are political figures, right? Like these guys are the reason why some of your hostages were returned, because the Israeli state, when they're speaking to resistance groups, they're speaking to these guys. These are the guys you hit in Qatar. They're the guys you're speaking to get your hostages back. So through diplomacy, through dialogue is how you got your hostages back, is potentially how you could get the remaining hostages back, how you could ensure peace for the Israeli citizens. So attacking them is a bridge burned. You're saying, forget the rules, forget diplomacy. Many would say Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying what he said in the last 24 hours, he has basically said, forget the hostages, I don't care about them. I'm aiming at the negotiators now. So how are you going to negotiate for the return of the hostages if the negotiators are dead? Now, this diplomatic fallout is why regional powers in the Middle East are now on very high alert. From months ago, I personally have been repeating the same thing, that there are geopolitically speaking, there's five notable regional powers in the Middle East: Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Iran, right? Israel and Iran are obviously the polar opposites. The three in the middle are to varying degrees under America's sphere of influence. Now, Israel has America's backing as well, but they can operate a lot more independently. So I wouldn't consider Israel particularly under America's sphere of influence in the same way the three in the middle, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey are. And Iran, obviously, is not at all under America's sphere of influence. That's why America hates them so much. That's why they've got crushing sanctions on them, which then makes them hate America back so much. Anyway, the middle three, Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the three significant middle powers in the region, middle in terms of the allegiance of them, not in terms of capability. After Qatar was attacked, these three are on very high alert. The US just made it clear that being under my protection does not mean I can protect you from Israel, or does not mean I will choose to protect you from Israel. I'll just look the other way. I won't even comment. Oh God, now they've commented. But at the time, Trump didn't comment. The US government officially didn't comment after the Qatar attacks immediately, while many other nations, including Western nations, were sending out announcements of condemnation, saying, what the heck is going on? This is complete treachery. This is completely unacceptable. This breaches international law, diplomatic decorum, all kinds, right? But America basically said, Israel can do what they want. No problem. You're my ally. I'm your protector. I'm your guardian state. I'm your overlord. No problem. Still, Israel can do what they want. Right? That is not a comfortable situation for these middle three countries to be in. So expect preparation and rhetoric from these countries to ramp up as they seek to deter Israeli aggression on their own soil. Turkey's going to want to, Saudi's going to want to, Egypt's going to want to make sure Israel doesn't get any bright ideas, right? Because hitting Qatar is already diplomatically crazy, right? It's a Richter scale 8.5 on the geopolitical Richter scale, but hitting Saudi, Egypt, or Turkey would be a 9.5. It would be insane because these are three regional powers. Qatar is a lot more of a small fry. And the citizens in these countries, oh, don't get me started on the citizens in these countries. Well, they'll likely put even more pressure on their administrations to force a change in foreign policy. They'll be like, many are already saying, we pay America for protection, and you're telling me Izzy can just still drop in and say hi whenever they want? What kind of protection is that? What kind of sovereignty do we have here? Right? Are we just all extensions of the Israeli state? Is this Greater Israel but with Muslim figureheads in these countries? What's going on? Right? Many are voicing that sentiment. That what's going on? Like, we don't have any sort of independence. We don't even have a right to defend ourselves. Anyone can just do Israel can do whatever they want in our lands. We're already upset about Gaza. Now this is happening. That's the citizen sentiment in these three middling countries. The public are expressing notable, to put it lightly, notable discontent, alarm, and anger. Now, time will tell how that discontent and anger and the rapidly shifting, deteriorating, really, geopolitical stability of the region, time will tell how all of it plays out. And I'll be here to report to you the news and the analysis, unbiased and without the Western spin. I'm Mahfuz. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.